So the last question for mountains of ice is a fill in the blanks type of question. And again, remember when you see the questions in the reading passage, pay close attention to the instructions. With the last one, summary completion, the instructions say choose one word only. So be very careful. If you're writing 2 words, it's not a correct answer. It's just 1 word. With fill in the blanks, we can see that the instructions tell us that we should choose 2 words only, or maximum 2 words. This means that for sure some of the answers will be at least 2 words. So again, just a reminder, pay attention to instructions. And here we have 2 words or less. Which means 1 word for some of them is possible. All right, so when you see this type of question, fill in the blanks, you can use similar strategies as with summary completion. Again, usually fill in the blanks are contained in the passage, all of the information. So these are good to skim read before the passage. And once more, when you're doing this skim reading, you should try to predict in your head what the space might contain, so what words complete the sentences. So try to predict. Answers. When you're predicting answers, you might actually be guessing the correct answer, or you might be thinking of a synonym of the answer. So try to predict the answers. And again, pay attention to word form and check the answer when it's complete. So read the whole sentence, just make sure that you have the correct answer. So check the sentence after answering. Now with fill in the blanks, sometimes the answers are coming from one part of the passage, sometimes they're coming from a few different parts of the passage, so you have to be careful. Again, with these questions, you should try to answer some of them without looking back at the passage. These ones can be very difficult or can take a lot of time if you're searching for all of the answers, because in many IELTS exams, fill in the blanks are throughout the passage. So the first one might be in the beginning somewhere, the second one might be in the middle, the third one might be near the end. So it can really take a long time if you're not answering these from your own understanding of the passage. All right, so let's look at the example again from Mountains of Ice and just solve the questions for this passage. All right, so again, I skim read these 4 questions before. I pay attention, choose no more than 2 words. Number 10, to avoid a Titanic-like disaster in the future, something formed the International Ice Patrol. The IPP's goal is to track the relevant data and something of icebergs. The Canadian Space Agency bounces something off the water to measure iceberg movement. Here I might guess something like satellite waves, radio waves, radar waves. This data renders large-scale maritime disasters something. Well, it makes sense that it makes it less possible. So for number 10, if we look at the passage, and again, the answers in this passage are coming from the paragraphs near the end, we will see that the space requires a noun, and when we search for it in the text, again, remember that these sentences are paraphrased. So you have to try to understand them in a paraphrase sense with synonyms. You will not see the exact same sentence in the passage, so you have to try to look for a sentence which shows similar information but with different words. And we can see that in the paragraph about the Titanic, and we learn that the answer here is maritime authorities. Again, we can see that this space needs a noun because it's someone or something formed the International Ice Patrol. So remember, the sentences are subject, verb, object. We have the verb formed, we have the object International Ice Patrol, so what comes before it should be the subject. All right, number 11, the IPP's goal is to track the relevant data and something of icebergs. Again, paraphrased, we will find that the correct answer here is chart movements. And again, when I read this sentence with the answer, it makes sense. So, goal is to track the relevant data and chart movements of icebergs. So notice that the first answer has 2 words, the second one has 2 words, and you will see that often when it says choose no more than 2 words, many answers will have 2-word answers. So number 12, if we again look at the passage, we will learn that the answer is microwaves. And if we read the sentence, the Canadian Space Agency bounces microwaves off the water to measure iceberg movement, it makes sense. The last question, number 13, is this data renders large-scale maritime disasters, and then we can see that the answer in the passage is virtually impossible. So again, once I have my answers, I check my sentences, I look at the word forms, and I make sure that they're correct and that they make sense. Alright, so these are 3 different types of questions that we discussed so far. The first one is true, false, not given. The second one, summary completion. And the third one, fill in the blanks. Once again, these examples are taken from www.aehelp.com. And now we will look at one more passage, try to set a 20 or 25 minute time limit, go through the passage, go through the answers nice and fast, and we'll practice the skills that we have learned in the last few videos. So once again, for more practice like this, visit us at our website, www.aehelp.com.